Hey adventurers, welcome to the crew. I'm Sealord Jenda, and this is my Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity. In the last episode, we began exploring First Fires, visited the Ducal Palace and the Valiant Embassy, and we're now headed into the Keep of the Crucible Knights to see what we can find there. Alright, up and into the Keep, I guess. We don't really know what the Crucible Knights are about. Well, we have some idea. We've read some lore and talked to some people, but we've never met any of them in person, I don't think. Dozens don't like him much. But the dozens seem kind of xenophobic, so... Justiciar...
Gods keep you.
Aldmar. Aldmar gives you an appraising eye. Judging by the scars on his face, he's lucky to be able to do that much. Every day we get more from the hinterlands pouring into Defiance Bay. Keeps us busy on the watch, it does. You look like you recently arrived yourself. Who are you? A soldier of the Crucible Knights, and proud of it. I help keep everything running at the keep, so Commander Cliver can focus on more important matters. Looking for something, or just knocking the dirt off your boots? What goes on in here? This is the headquarters of the Crucible Knights, so it's where we store arms and armor, as well as where many of our soldiers bunk. Commander Cliver's in the back, making plans as usual. He scratches a scarred cheek. You'll find the forge at the west end of the building, along with our master smith Dunstan. There's also a shrine to the golem if you're the praying type. Tell me about the knights. We're the defenders of Defiance Bay. We're not exactly a formal knighthood, but don't tell Commander Cliver I said that. He grins. We were the first organized militia to oppose Adiran rule, and today we're the largest force in the city. Our soldiers undergo years of combat training, and our officers are required to have their souls read by that critter out in Dunrid Row. Is this about that? Just a requirement of the Crucible Knights, so the higher-ups know there's nothing messy built in your soul's past. Aldmar widens his stance. Keeping the ranks pure is fine by me. I just wish they were more careful in hiring their ciphers. What's wrong with their ciphers? He shifts his weight and glances at the empty halls. They're mostly Orlans. I'm sure they're talented enough, but you just can't trust them. Hostility's in their nature, and they've learned to hide it over the years. He frowns and crosses his arms. All I'm saying is they should at least be supervised by other folk. That's reasonable enough, isn't it? That seems openly racist. That seems like kind of an extreme position, buddy. Altmar shrugs. I'm just speaking the truth. Nowadays, it seems that's the biggest crime of... Oh, you're racist as hell. Okay. Hold on. I guess I have information about Eorn, but I need to check my quest log and find out what it is I know about Eorn first, to be honest with you. Is it this? No, this is Osric. What the hell do I know about Eorn? Oh. No, I shouldn't turn Eorn in. Well, okay, hold up. Let me quick save. If I click, I have information, do I have to turn him in? Or can I just say, oh no, I can just say, okay. I was gonna see if there was an option to just tell them, you know, he's out of the city or something. Okay, archives, forge, barracks, this is a large area. Obviously, these guys are the city watch, as well as a knightly order of some kind, effectively. Tongues of flame lick at the forge, hissing with smoke as hot as a dragon's breath. Tongs, hardies, hammers, fullers, and punch tools hang from the wall. They feel heavy and sturdy, but their flame-darkened surfaces testify to frequent use. What's up, Dunstan?
If this is about the breastplates, I already told Cleaver they won't be repaired till next week.
The dwarf bustles between a sweltering forge fire and a work table. He wipes one muscle-knotted arm across his brow. Of course it's a dwarf. What do you do here?
I'm a forge master. I'm a master smith for the Crucible Knights. But the way I see it, I'm also keeping up with our old traditions. The first members of our order were smiths. Nowadays, most everyone's a professional soldier. I suppose it's to be expected. But I think it's important we keep up with our roots, too.
Fair. Tell me
We were
about the
all
knights.
smiths back in Hodred's day, though I'm about the only one here who still gets his hands dirty. We're a fearsome fighting force, though these days I think Cleaver takes more pride in our parade formations.
Okay, so they started as a people's militia, and now they're more of a fancy knightly order. He thinks himself a progressive man, but he's obsessed with soul lineages and connections to the Deerwood's heroes of old. He picks up his hammer again. Other than Dunrid Rowe, who really knows about any of that, though? Alright, moving on. Pen the helm. Blades are razor sharp.
Good day to you.
What are you? The young novitiate's armor is recently shined, and his hair is clean and neatly combed. It's hard to believe he's ever seen battle, or that the scarred antique breastplate he wears could possibly be his. Tell me about the knights. Okay, we're the primary defenders of Defiance Bay, Deerwood and Independence, sure. Most prestigious company of soldiers in the Deerwood. Yeah, pretty much what everybody else said. How do you become a knight? Well, we don't take just anyone. Our members share soul legacies with the very men and women who defended this land a century and a half ago. He shifts his weight and coughs. Anyhow, Commander Cleaver's responsible for initiations, but he rarely accepts foreigners. Osric, what was the deal with Osric? He wants his armor back. But I feel like any sort of... Where is that? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Well, I don't want to screw up anything that'll... Well, Osric is part of the dozens, I think. Probably
Welcome.
can't hurt to ask. He sniffs. If you've got any self-respect, you won't associate with him, or with any of his new friends at the expedition, all for that matter. Scamps and delinquents, the lot of them. What's the story with you two? Osric's always held for some controversial opinions, but they went overlooked for the longest time because his family has such an extensive history of service in the Crucible Knights. He frowns and crosses his arms. They finally went too far. They had the gall to suggest we'd strayed too far from our roots. That some of our officers were beginning to resemble the dear nobility. He rubs a spot in his bracer with a silk handkerchief. He would have us all wear rough spun and fight with forge hammers. I merely reported his statements. Well, seems like that history made you what you are. We've outgrown that past. He waves a shining gauntlet. Sometimes you need to move on. Oh, you're a bit of a prick, huh, Penhelm? Scunny frowns. Outgrown it like an old sealskin coat? You adapt with the times, sure, but that's a bit naive. That his breastplate you're wearing? It was. He looks down and admires it. It became property of the Crucible Knights when he was discharged. Now it's mine. And it's not for sale, if that's what you're wondering. Not every day you find armor that was used in the rebellion. He says your affidavit's a forgery. Just what would he know about that? It's perfectly convenient for him to cast aspersions, what with his pedigree in the Knights. He folds his arms. He blinks at you. It's a lie, of course, as should be perfectly obvious to someone as logical as you. Sure, enough about Osric. Okay, we have to find the falsehood, I think, if we want to move any further, and I'm not sure we do. Although, I'd be happy to get Penhelm kicked out. He seems like a prick, but... Is this the barracks? Yeah. Thick grime cakes the bottom of the tub. The towel hanging from the side gives off an awful stench. Ugh. Guys, practice some personal hygiene in the barracks, please. Alright, what's in here? Oh, actually take some of these. Oh, Penhelm's affidavit. The filed one, at least. Curran, a cipher duly appointed and employed by Dunrid Row, does hereby certify that novitiate A.M. Penhelm has been found to have a soul free of any subversive influences or tainted essence. The scroll is stamped with the seal of Dunrid Row and signed by both Penhelm and Curran. Uh-huh. So that's the fake, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, let's see about here. This looks like the mess hall. This painting shows a row of warriors standing atop the walls of Defiance Bay while Adir's ships sail away. Alright, let's take a look at the training room then. Nice sand pit. Willa. Yeah, you probably do need to deal with Heritage. Oh, this is the person to talk to get into Heritage Hill, I'm guessing. That makes sense. So there's some progress we can probably make. The Justiciar's gaze flicks over to you briefly before returning to the novitiates gathered in the training area. If this is about patrols, my novitiates are already stretched to their limit. Between the refugee influx and the mess at Heritage Hill, I simply don't have any units to spare. After a pause, she looks over at you again. I'm sorry, was there something else you need? Oh, yeah, what do you do here? I'm in charge of the Keep's novitiates. I'm responsible for their training and patrol assignments. She nods to the group gathered in the training room. They're good soldiers. They've been quick to adapt to new challenges. If there's nothing else, I must attend to my duties. Yeah, what's wrong at Heritage Hill? She lowers her voice. What isn't wrong is the real question. A whole district of walking, flesh-eating corpses. We sealed the area 2 months ago, just after I lost one of my finest commanders there. And yet this is the second guard rotation to disappear. There are already enough rumors about the place floating around the keep without my soldiers whispering about these disappearances. She shakes her head. I'd just as soon abandon the district, but if those monsters should find a way out... Tell me about it. It used to be one of the most prestigious districts in Defiance Bay, but a few months ago the residents all went mad, started eating each other and anything else that had the bad luck to wander into the district. I've never seen anything like it. Now every novitiate that stands guard there, everyone that comes back anyway, talks of the stench of the grave and the groans of unspeakable horrors. She holds up one plate-clad finger. The why and the how are questions for the animancers. I've sealed the district in hopes of containing whatever happened there, and it seems to be working for now. Yeah, something's real wrong, clearly. I could look into it. She steps back and regards you. After what I've just told you, you want to go to Heritage Hill. I've lost trained soldiers there. Why should I let anyone in? Well, if people are disappearing, what's the harm? Let me try. If you're so eager to rush to your death, I won't stop you. She quietly looks on at the novitiates. And if you're somehow able to put a stop to this, you got my permission to enter Heritage Hill. I'll send word to the guards at the gate. All right. Well, so that was easy. They don't really care if you go in if you're willing to risk death, apparently. I feel like that's about the third copy we have of that book. Alright, so this is a shrine to their god, who looks like the Forge god, which makes perfect sense. The symbol of Abaddon, a colossal smithing hammer imposed over a circular gear, smooth and bright with buffing oils. Yeah, they definitely worship the blacksmith god, which does make sense with their origins. Now, do we find Cleaver up here in the war room? Yep.
We just don't have the manpower.
I see. This document estimates the flow of refugees over the past 3 months. The figures grow by the week. Rough. Okay, we'll read that later. Edict of Arrest. Calls for the arrest of Eorn, whose recent actions led to the death of a Knight of the Crucible. We don't know for sure. We have only heard Eorn's side of the story, really, unfortunately. This map shows the environs surrounding Defiance Bay. Flags mark strategic access points to the city. Sup, Cleaver?
Refugees from every corner of the Deerwood. The dozen's getting them all riled up about animancy. At this rate, we'll need twice the soldiers to patrol Defiance Bay.
Oh,
Yes?
yeah.
Can I help you with something?
I do like that he's defending the Animancers. You in charge of the Crucible Knights? Here in Defiance Bay, anyhow. The High Justice is the leader of our order, but he's currently stationed at Fleetbreaker Castle. My job's to oversee our forces in Defiance Bay and to keep order for the Duke. Something else I can do for you? Tell me about you guys. He crosses his hands behind his back. We're the only professional army in Defiance Bay, or in the Deerwood for that matter. We defended the city in Hadrod's day. We've improved our training since then, but Dunrid Row can certify that many of our officers come from good Deerwood and fighting stock. Now we're responsible for patrolling the city and keeping the peace. With so many refugees pouring in from the countryside, that's become more important than ever. Unfortunately, that's earned us enemies, particularly among the dozens and some of the more enterprising families in Defiance Bay. Well, I'll happily help them cross the Dominals. I don't know, I'm not totally decided about the dozens yet. What do the dozens have against you? He snorts. They're demagogues and troublemakers. They forget Defiance Bay is one of the largest cities in the world, not some frontier outpost. Most of them are mercenaries on a good day and street thugs the rest of the time. Needless to say, they've no patience for law and order. How about the enterprising families? House Dominal, namely. They're one of the city's oldest noble families, and its largest criminal organization. Their patriarch Gedmar's been trying to take advantage of the turmoil to expand his operations. We've kept on top of him, and he hasn't been too happy about that. Yeah, why don't you have enough soldiers?
Fleetbreaker Castle. The High Justice has summoned almost half of my novitiates and more of my justiciars to a keep on the other side of New Hailmar. It's not for me to question the High Justice's orders, but it's left us short-handed. And mark me, we're just a couple sparks away from anarchy.
I see. And you can't recruit more soldiers for the newcomers? More recruits means more training, which means more time from experienced soldiers that I don't have. Actually, to be fair, that is a valid and logical reason. I expected him to spout some bull about bloodlines, but no, this makes sense, to be fair. Can't train recruits if you don't have the manpower in the first place. He half turns away from you. Anyhow, I hardly see how this is any of your concern. But if you got the time to ask me about it, then perhaps you got time to do something constructive. Oh, I was about to say that next. Come on now. Forge Master Dunstan is working with an animancy scholar to build what we're calling Forge Knights. Warriors that can patrol our streets without suffering fatigue, disobedience, or fear. Some agitator throws a rock at him, we don't have to worry about things getting out of hand. He's constructed the armor, but we need the scholar's research. Unfortunately, she hasn't been around the last few times my novitiates have checked. Fiona lives with the rest of the Scriveners out in Copper Lane, but I haven't the soldiers to spare at the moment. Go to the Scrivener's dormitory and see if you can find her. When you get the research, bring it to Dunstan. This is his area of expertise anyway. Animancy is tolerated in most areas of the Republics, but some Valians, I do not have this accent at all, prefer the community in Defiance Bay for their research. I hope she hasn't been forced out of the city or worse. Once you've brought him the research, you can sell you any arms or armor if you have need. He forges and repairs all our equipment. You won't find a more capable smith in Defiance Bay. Okay, I'm not actually totally sold on this Forge Knights idea. That sounds kind of I'm not sure. We're using animated armor to patrol. Are we stuffing souls into this armor? I'd like to hear more about how this works. But I do want access to this smith, so for now... Actually, I think I can walk to the Brackenbury one and still go to the Copperlane one. I could be wrong, but... No, I'm right. Okay. Alright, so we're going to resolve this quest. And then I'll check if there's any other easy side quests, and then we will head back to Heritage Hill.
But
Here's where the Scriveners are. They were all high last time we were there, as I recall.
have to beg forgiveness when the dust settles.
You must do what you feel is best. I understand.
Okay, they're talking about whether Protogina's going to follow her orders or not. Viana, we need you to give something to me. Corin, could you put down your weed for a second and tell me where Viana is? I think maybe we better go talk to Corin.
Greetings.
Looking for Viana. Corin sways slightly from side to side. Your skin's still green, but you lost your ducks. Looking for Viana. I like Viana. She's always talking about metal men, which is strange since I'm pretty sure she doesn't eat Snowcap. His brow wrinkles. I don't talk about metal men either, and I do eat Snowcap. Huh. Anyway, she's not here right now. Wait, Andra's gift to meet her friend Bessia? No, Clessia. Yeah, Clessia. Clessia's the friend she's gone to meet. In Andra's gift. In a house, not a boat. North house, empty house. Andra's gift has a lot of boats. We should go rowing sometime. Corin, please lay off the Snowcap a little, buddy. He's not going to lay off the Snowcap. But alright, let's go find Clessia. At least our taxes were enough to pay for our salaries, I think. So we're doing alright there. Oh, that was fast endurance. Okay, I guess let's read this. Hold on. A series of disturbing murders and suicides linked to rumors about a recently unearthed Ong with an artifact. Large tin mirror that whispers maddening messages. With the aid of a secretive Orland cipher, Durrance was able to locate the so-called Night Mirror in a remote corner of southwestern Glonfoth. Unexpectedly, the Night Mirror was holding several Glonfothans in thrall, all of whom were willing to kill to protect the mirror. In a protracted battle, Durrance and the cipher were able to shatter the mirror and break the spell over the remaining thralls. As soon as the dust had settled, some of the cipher's associates arrived, apparently agents of some unknown organization. The Orland coyly apologized to Durrance, but explained that the remnants of the Night Mirror had to be taken away for safekeeping. He was so proud of how things seemed to turn out that he didn't notice Durrance was standing on a piece of the mirror through the entire speech. Naturally, Durrance brought it back to Caed Nua as a memento. Because it's frightening and sickening to anyone around it. Okay. Well done. Now, deal with this, Durrance. There's Pugra offering up sacrifices to their mother. He's probably racking up XP faster than we are right now. Okay, probably one of these houses. Although remember in Colfag's house, but it was just Colfag, wasn't it? I don't remember any woman being there, really. Who's in here? You're all just Svef addicts still. We were told the north house, right? These are all pretty north. Okay. Not here. There's one more abandoned house. Though I don't really see why it should be an abandoned house, I guess, but... Wouldn't be Otta's house.
I've never been to Nasitak. Is it very cold? What creatures wander the tundra? How are your leaders chosen?
Do you always ask this many questions?
Well, that's just to get us started. Let me get out some parchment for notes.
Ask whatever you want. If I don't know, I'll make something up.
Perfect, Scotty. Oh, hi. As you enter the room, you see several figures huddled together. They stand at attention, armed, but not in matched gear like the Crucible Knights. At the center of the group, one woman looms over another, holding a flail. She snarls at the cowering figure. You've got pages of research here. You expect me to believe this was just your scratch work? It's nothing, I promise. Just my notes. You hear a painful smack as the woman backhands her captive. We know you were meeting with the Crucible Knights. You think they're the only ones with power in this city? They call us the Dozens for a reason. Now, I won't ask you again. At a nudge from one of her men, the woman turns and sees you watching. Her eyes narrow. You should not be here. Okay, I don't appreciate this open violence here, so, let her go, and I'll pretend I never saw this. It's too late for that. Okay, straight to violence. Alright. Not really the attitude one wants to see. Ader, Palagina, get up there. Oh, I didn't recharge my spell slots or anything like that. These guys had better not be that tough.
Brave Dove.
Okay, I need you to get further. God damn it. The wolf is blocking everyone's entrance into the room. Scotty, go for a wounding shot on her. I will just start throwing these out, I guess. Loth. You want to also start throwing these out? Alright, let me hit, we're in a pretty good line to hit both of these two if I cast that, probably. Loth, you want to just throw that. Ader. Where the hell are you, Ader? Why are you behind this door? Get back here and help beat the mercenaries up. Palagina. Okay, this stays active. That's good. Go for Flames of Devotion on that guy. Loth hit him with another Arcane Assault, or I'll hit him with another Arcane Assault. Loth, why don't you, why don't you cast Combusting Wounds on this guy? Dead. Okay. Gina, you go for Delguina. Two of us probably could take down the archer.
Hi?
Okay. That wasn't too difficult, actually. Fianna's face is covered in bruises and her eyes are wide with shock and relief. I don't know who you are, but thank you. Rapid, hitching breaths punctuate her words. I was sure they were going to kill me. She wipes a tear from her cheek, wincing as her knuckle graces a bruise. What just happened here? I thought I was coming here to meet my, friend from the Republics. Looks like I walked into a trap. She shakes her head. The dozens must have been watching me for a while. I've been working on a special project for the Crucible Knights, and they weren't exactly subtle about contacting me. But tell me more about yourself. I studied animancy in Alzia back in the Vailian Republics. I came to Defiance Bay to research local advances, but instead of going to Brackenbury Sanitarium, I found a position as a scrivener at the Temple of Whale. I've had access to many rare manuscripts that most animancers never see. She shrugs. Of course, I've had to keep my head down. I've been careful not to let the head librarian or my colleagues know what I'm working on. So, about the project. It deals with a rather rare branch of animancy. No offense, but I probably shouldn't get too specific without Commander Cleaver's permission. He commissioned it, after all. She laughs nervously. And you can see the trouble a little indiscretion has gotten me into. Alright, let's get out of here. She gnaws on a split lip. Commander Cleaver of the Crucible Knights is waiting on my research. Not that you haven't already done a lot for me, but maybe you could take it to him? I'd kept it with me to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands, but you can see how well that worked out. She nods at Dudwina's corpse. She took it from me when I arrived. She takes a deep breath. Anyhow, don't wait on me. I can make my own way out of here. Fianna, the logic of not explaining your project to me and then telling me to just take all of your notes and deliver them? Reinforced Brigandine. Plus deflection against ranged attacks and plus move speed. Arrow Breaker. Protect against projectiles, not against a mace to the side of the head. Noted. These pages contain Viana's research along with techniques for imbuing matter with essence. She appears to have developed a method based on her studies of animats. On the first page is a note to someone called Dunstan. Yeah, we know who that is. Have we been in and looted this building already? Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Funny thing is, this the rope and the chair and all that were there before. Just nobody was in them. Yeah, still can't camp. We're gonna have to stop at a pub on our way. Well, let me think. Yeah, I guess we'll just stop at. We won't really need to stop at one just to visit the Crucible Knights, but we will before we go into Heritage Hill. So let's just stop at the brothel here, have a nap. An actual nap. And then head back to the Crucible Knights. Because we need our health and spell slots back real quick.
Hail and well met.
There we are. Alright, now back to the Crucible Knights.
Or you can wait for better days.
Well, feathers in my case. But I understand your point.
We have now explored all but one district of Defiance Bay, and that appears to be the closed and incredibly dangerous district, so we're making good progress on this city. Wish there was in-area fast travel, honestly. Alright, we'll just head straight over to Dunstan then and hand him the plans. Okay, this one music track that plays sometimes with the bells is really annoying. It always makes me think I'm getting a notification or something. Commander Kleber said you're working with an animancer to build Forge Knights, Dunstan.
So much for his talk of secrecy. I'm building Cleaver's Metal Warriors. He says they're what we need to keep order in Defiance Bay, so...
He shrugs and shakes his head. You disagree about him? I disagree with him on near about everything, and this is no exception. These Forge Knights won't solve our manpower problem. He can call them what he wants, but they aren't knights. Doesn't take Edomach's nose to smell the trouble here. A group that can't stand together is headed for a fall. He folds his arms and looks at the ground. And don't get me started on the other problem. Those souls he's bought to power the Forge Knights. Kleber keeps telling himself they came from willing donors, but he knows better. There's a reason you have to buy souls through less than legal channels. We should be clearing those scavengers off the road, not doing business with them. Yeah, this does seem like a bit of an unethical. How are we creating these? Suits of armor and souls. Kleber's had me repairing and reinforcing unused armor for months now, just so we can fill them with some poor sod's essence. He wipes his shining brow. As long as that scholar girl's got her numbers right, infusing the armor with a soul won't be that hard. But that's not what bothers me. And so you need to be on his research to finish them. She's been working out a method to transfer the souls into the armor. Getting the process just right is critical. He holds up one hand. Bind the souls too tightly and you get something like those flesh constructs at the sanitarium. Barely bright enough to avoid walking into a wall. He raises his other hand. But bind them too loosely, and they'll be too self-aware for their own good. Mad killers and metal bodies. This does not really seem like an ethical business, to be honest. Nonetheless, here's your research.
That's what Cleaver's been looking for anyway. If you found it, I guess I've got to start.
You don't sound too happy. I'm not, and I've made it clear to Cleaver that this is a mistake. Trying to harness souls like this, it's a crime against the gods, and it's bound to earn us more trouble than it saves. But Cleaver's given me his orders, so I've got to build these things as best I can. Anyway, Cleaver's told me I'm to sell you any arms or armor you might want. You won't find better anywhere in Defiance Bay, I can promise you that.
Time to see if that Valian was worth all that blood and copper. I'll be damned. To be honest, even I wasn't expecting it to work this well. Back to it. Cleaver will want me to finish the rest of them. And it sounded like he has a job for you, too.
Okay. What do you have for sale? Ooh, that is one very expensive. Whoa, no. I just want to see the description. It's a two-handed S-stalk, sort of great sword. Disorienting, blizzard thrice per rest, 5 DR bypass. Found among the possessions of a member of the Order of Bleakwalkers, though it seems to have predated her. The spiraling engravings upon the blade are flanked by small, finely etched symbols of binding and enchantment, which might be credited with the permanent chill of the metal and the thin dusting of frost upon the S-stalk's hilt. Well, it's expensive. Okay, he sells every sort of fine grade equipment you could ask for. A couple of, wow, he sells exceptional plate armor. And all the other armors, actually. The heavy armors only, but still. Consecrated ground when hit by a crit. That's a pretty damn good set of boots. This guy does have good stuff. Almost to the point that I am considering buying it. Especially some of this stuff. We'll come back to him, maybe. We'll probably fit the party out, like do a full party refit before we leave Defiance Bay again. Make sure everybody's got at least fine grade weapons and armor. And it looks like, if we haven't looted it, that he'll probably be the place to buy. Although he only has martial stuff, yeah, but still. Alright, let's talk to Cleaver. Something else you need me to do?
Dunstan will complete the first squad of Forge Knights in no time. Now the High Justice will want to have his Forge Masters at Fleetbreaker Castle create more. I've made a copy of Viana's research, and the High Justice has sent a courier to Anslog's Compass to retrieve it. The dozens have gotten too active for the courier to come to Defiance Bay, and after Viana's kidnapping, we've got to assume they know about our plans. That's why I'm sending you to deliver the research. You shouldn't be recognizable to the dozens. Yet.
We're in the thick of it now with the High Justices. We're in the thick of it now if the High Justice is involved. Considering a political career out here, Sea Lord? I don't have his voice right either. But after this, I expect they'll learn of your association with us, and they won't be too happy about it. Neither will the Dominals, he snorts. They're trying to expand the family business, and they resent us for standing in the way. Okay, this is probably cutting me off from the dozens and Dominals quest lines, but... The Crucible Knights clearly have their own problems. I still think fundamentally they're probably the best of these. I mean, I'm definitely not going with the Dominals. The dozens have a tempting sort of spirit, but they're a little too... The Crucible Knights also have exclusionist type views in some cases, but I think their problems are a little more fixable, maybe.
Anslog's Compass is a small lagoon just north of Defiance Bay.
There.
Your contact will be a commander named Arenroad. She'll meet you by the docks. Return to me when you've finished. The High Justice has made the expansion of the Forge Knights his top priority, which means it's mine as well.
Sure. Actually, let me go back to the Smith. I didn't really get a look at the Forge Knight. I suppose it probably doesn't have dialogue or anything, huh? Nope, it just stands there. Looks pretty intimidating, though. Not sure if it's actually going to be useful. Alright, that case from here... I would say we head back to Heritage Hill. The final unexplored district of Defiance Bay. Thanks for watching, adventurers. New parts will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy the video, consider leaving a like or subscribing. Have a nice day, adventurers. This is Sea Lord Janda, signing off.